When I... Gee, can you shut up? What's good, pretty people? My name's Gypsy. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. And if you're not, well, welcome back. I had this idea to create a sim for the Horse Ranch pack that just recently dropped. And I was trying to think, like, what kind of character can I make that's, like, unique? So I came across this picture in my Instagram feed of one of my dolls, Nyla. I noticed that she had on a horse shirt in the picture. And I was like, what? That can't be just a strange coincidence. It's a sign, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn her into a character in my storylines for my Broken Dollyverse save file that I'm working on, which I'm going to be playing in, doing a bunch of let's plays in that world. I decided to make her character, so I already got started, but we're going to style her together today. But I want to talk about the inspiration for her character, where I'm coming from basically, and how I'm setting this up. Have you guys heard of this woman? She's a horse jockey. Her name is Khadija Mella. She's from the UK. I was so inspired, like, learning about her because she happens to be a hijabi who also races horses. She actually won. She won her first race, and she had only been training for a few months prior to that. And she was a teenager when she did it. Phenomenal story, very inspiring, broke so many levels of barriers. I just feel like it's only right that I found this person's story to, like, be inspired by. So that's what we're going to be basing kind of her storyline on. The sim herself is not based on her as far as her look. She's based on my doll, and my doll's name is Nyla. So we're going to be making her character here. I already kind of made her, but I just want to style her with you guys while I talk about her traits and stuff. So her hair, man, I was struggling trying to figure out what kind of hairstyle to give her. I wanted it to be very similar to the actual hair that is on the doll, but my doll, who is a devout Muslim, she never shows her hair in public, so all the pictures that I have of her is without her hair showing, and I wanted to kind of stay true to that in my sim character as well. The doll is never pictured without her hijab covering her hair. She's gonna have her hijab, but we also want her to be appropriately dressed for her career path, which is going to be working with horses. I'm not sure if I want her to be like a racer with the horses, although you can enter competitions in the game. It's a rabbit hole, so it's not necessary that she be dressed completely accurately. Like, she doesn't need a helmet or anything like that because we're not gonna see her actually racing. She does have a lot of choices with the new pack, so that's pretty exciting. I don't have to worry about running out of things to put her in, but I do have to be mindful about the way she's dressed. As you guys can see in each category, I've got her wearing these stockings, but that's because I want her ankles to be covered up. So because this particular character is very serious about wearing her hijab properly. You see, like, even in real life, there's a lot of women who wear hijab, but they don't necessarily wear it the proper way. It's not because they don't want to, but they just maybe just don't feel like going through all the motions of doing it totally 100% correct. That's why I think we see a lot of that in real life. But for this character, she ain't playing that, okay? She don't play that. It's her preference to cover herself up properly. So we're going to make sure that she's staying true to her character and dress her the right way. So we're gonna start with her jacket here. I think this is like a nice loose top. That's kind of the vibe that she's gonna be going for. She's not gonna be wearing too much stuff that's really like skin tight or where you can see her shape too much. For her pants, let's see if we can find something. Like, see, for example, if I wanted to put her in shorts, I wanted to make sure that her legs would be covered up. So that's why I just went ahead and put the leggings on her ahead of time so that we don't even have to worry about that, because it's just so annoying going into each category and doing that manually. Ugh, I feel like these pants are still a little bit too tight. Oh, these are kind of cool. Chappy. Different swatch for the coloring though. Maybe like a plain color like this. For her shoes, definitely need to get some boots on because she's gonna be in cold weather wearing this. Thems don't look too bad. Okay, so that should keep you warm. Done, because we need to give her a hijab to go with this look, but we're gonna do the hijab last. Okay, so now we have to do her summer attire. Now here's where it gets tricky, y'all, because even though it's supposed to be summer attire, because she's a hijabi, she's not going to be showing all her body parts and nothing's going to be really exposed, so she still has to be covered up even though it's going to be hot weather. The trick though is to find her something that is going to be kind of like loose fitting and breezy so that she's not going to be all hot in the clothes even though it's covering her skin. If you're familiar with actual real Muslimas in real life, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, because they do cover themselves all year round. I used to always wonder, how can they stand it? How can you stand to be covered up all the time? Like, even when it's hot, because I'm a very hot-blooded person. What the heck is this? What is this? Oh, it's supposed to be some kind of a... I think this is a costume. Some of these outfits, y'all, I ain't never even seen, because I don't actually play the game. Like, I'm just setting everything up right now, so I haven't even seen a lot of these things. So so if I seem shocked and you're like, what's the big deal? Well, that's why. I always wonder about the girls who wear hijab, because I'm like, how do you not be like hot? I learned that the actual fabrics that are being used for the hijabs change with the seasons. So when the girls are getting dressed, they'll choose different kinds of hijab styles to go with the weather that they're dressing for, which totally makes sense. So like in the summertime, you might see them wearing more like silky, satiny, light fabrics, and then in the wintertime they're gonna wear a little bit thicker material like cotton and things like that. We want to reflect that in her look here as well. So let's try to find her something. I want to see if there's maybe, I think I was looking for a dress, but I'm not sure if I saw anything that I really like. Or I shouldn't even say that I like, something that looks like what she would wear, because she's very particular about her style. This, actually, I feel like she could get away with. I just don't like that the sleeves are drawn up like this. I'm not sure if that would be quite accurate for her character, because she really is very, very like, what's the way to explain it? She's the kind of person who is a better safe than sorry type of personality. So even if it's inconveniencing her a little bit, she would rather make sure that she's doing things the correct way than to have to go back and do it all over again. That's just her personality. We want to reflect that in the way that she's styled. Oh, what about this one? This one would be okay, except that it's too much cleavage showing here. Oh, that might be okay. Everything is covered up. With her, you know, it's not so much about being stylish. It's more about dressing comfortably and like making sure that she can still do all the things that she normally does in her day without being inconvenienced because she has to adjust her clothing too much. I think for this summer dress look, we're gonna go with something just very simple, because I don't want her to draw too much attention to herself. Black is going to be too hot for summer weather. Perhaps something like this that's light and white. I do like this one too. That is adorable, I think. This one is a little bit more alpha than Maxis match, but I still like it. And the whole debate over alpha versus Maxis, this is just my opinion and how I feel about it. Of course, there's no wrong way to go. I mean, whatever works for you is what you're gonna do. But for me, when I first started adding CC to my game, I was leaning towards a lot of alpha stuff because just how realistic it looks, and I like realism. And even in my doll collection, I do try to like change the way that my dolls look and customize them to look more realistic. So that's just automatically where I naturally like went after setting things up and trying out different things and just experimenting a whole bunch with CC, the look of the game itself, you know, with the packs and everything. I've come to the conclusion that alpha CC is just not for me. I'm slowly going through my CC and, oh, this is gonna be tricky, swimwear, oh my goodness. Yeah, and just kind of like purging my CC of alpha style stuff, especially the hairs. I think I deactivated almost all of my alpha hairs except for a few that were like very necessary because they were really specific styles. What I'll do is I'll look for Maxis match hairs that can replace those. So that's what I've been doing, because when I'm in game, you know, the townies and the NPCs interacting with your characters, it just looks off when I see a lot of alpha on my main Sims and then the background Sims don't have alpha CC on too. Like, it's just, and it's too much. I'm not gonna go through all of my townies to give them alpha makeovers because I ain't got time for that. You just kind of have to make up your mind about it, right? So I've come to the conclusion that for me, Maxis match is the way to go, unless it's something like I gotta have it in my game. I'm not really pressed about keeping that stuff in my game, so I'm just slowly purging that stuff. This is tricky. I don't know what to put on her for swimwear, so this is the swimwear for the Muslima girls. I have never seen this before. I'm learning so much. I wanted to like share some cultural information with you guys as we do this. Always good to learn about other people, because when you don't know anything about somebody else, it's very easy to just judge them based on the way that they look and false information that you're getting from who knows what sources, things that really are not even accurate information. So this is really cool. I did not realize that they have like whole swimsuits like this. Wow, pretty amazing. They can swim in it without it getting all, you know, when you wear your clothes into the water, how it gets like really heavy and stuff, and you can't really move around. So this is very interesting. I don't know exactly what it's made from. Maybe it's the same material they use for regular swimsuits. I find it intriguing. Can we do something like this in the game? Let's start with a shirt, something kind of long. This might be a bit of a challenge, y'all. I don't know if I even have anything that will work for something like this. I mean, like, this is great. It's all covered up, but it's see-through. Why has it got to be see-through? Okay, something like this. Uh-oh, are we about to pull this off, y'all? Of course, the pants, they can't be, like, because when I look at the picture, it looks almost like they're wearing leggings, but somehow they're still not, like, skin tight. And the shirt is very long. It's like a dress. It's supposed to cover up your bow tie. Let's see if we can figure this out. It's like a puzzle. These look like they might be okay. Just so tight. Khadija Mella is from the UK. When she got into horse racing, I think she was about 18 years old. That was like 3 or 4 years ago. Overall, beat so many odds. Didn't even make sense that she was horse racing in the first place. I think the horse that she was racing with was like retired, or it wasn't in any shape to be winning races. Like, nobody thought that that horse was up to par for winning any race, okay? Not only did she race the horse, but then she won. Nobody thought she was gonna win. She didn't even think she was gonna win. She was just doing it for like the fun and the experience of doing it. So she surprised herself when she won. The craziest thing to me is that she hadn't even started training until a few months before she performed in that race. That's monumental. Like, how disciplined are you? How determined are you that you actually pulled that off? How did you do that? Like, what? A teenager? That's so crazy to me, but it's so inspiring because it just lets you know, like, there really are no limits in life. Anything that you want to do, within reason, of course, but anything that you want to do, don't let somebody tell you that you can't do it. Don't let somebody tell you it's too difficult, you're not going to be able to pull it off, you don't have what it takes to pull it off. Don't let them tell you that, because that's not true. It really boils down to your belief in yourself. I was really inspired to see that story and so proud of her that she actually like did that when she won. I mean, so many people were inspired by her. I'm not talking about Muslim girls. Like, I'm not saying a bunch of Muslim girls were like, yeah, I'm gonna go horse racing now. No, I mean just everyday people who didn't even know her, people who have nothing to do with Islam. They just were so blown away that she accomplished that. Monumental. Okay, hold on a second. Maybe we can work with this, because this, oh no, why the whole back gotta be open? We're not gonna do that, ma'am. Thank you, but no thank you. This is a struggle. I really didn't think I was gonna be stuck on the swimwear part, because honestly, I mean, I don't even expect for her to be going swimming anyway, but I do want to try to be as accurate as I can get her look. So we'll try our best with what we have to work with. I don't know if there's any like CC I can download that will allow me to give her a believable swimwear. But if you guys know of any, please let me know, because I will be very interested to download it so she can have her proper attire for swim clothes. But for now, we're just gonna make it work with what we got. Alright. So anyway, so I just wanted to share that story with you guys because I just thought it was so inspirational and just brilliant that this young lady accomplished what she did. Absolutely amazing. And I ain't never heard no story like that. And honestly, I'm not a horse girl. I'm not into animals. I don't like animals. I don't want to smell them. Like, I'm just not interested. But even though I don't like animals, I mean, that story was so inspirational. I just was like, girl, represent. Have you guys heard of her? This sweater is dope. I gotta use that for something. That's a nice sweater. Okay, what about this shirt? This shirt covers up most of her butt, actually, so this actually might work for us. And then for her bottoms, then we can go back and find those. Where'd those pants go? This isn't too bad. We can do it like this. I think she's good to go for her swimwear. Boy, that was painstaking, but it was worth it. It was worth it. Party wear. They have some really cool cultural clothes that came with updates and also with different packs. My character is supposed to be half Egyptian and half black. I don't think that we have anything that specifically represents Egypt, but we do have a lot of like Middle Eastern inspired clothing, Indian inspired clothing. So I think we can make it work with some combination of those styles. We do want to also incorporate her cowgirl aesthetic as well, so we're going to do that when we get to her other attires. I like this. This looks pretty. See, like, this is very Indian inspired clothing, but for a hijabi wouldn't wear this because you can see her arms and her body parts, so that wouldn't work. I know most of you guys who watch my channel, you're not Muslims. Some of you guys, I know a handful of you guys are. Shout out to you guys. But so correct me in the comments if you do happen to be Muslim and you hear me say something that's incorrect. But a lot of people think that the women who are wearing hijab are being forced to wear them, but they're not. So hijab, if you didn't know what it is the covering that goes over your hair. It is the exact same function as when you see a nun with a head covering. The same exact reason why the nuns wear a head covering is why Muslim women wear their head coverings. So if that clears anything up for you, then I just thought I would mention that. And also, when they're home with their family, they don't have to wear the hijab. Usually they take it off when they're home, and you'll see when we get to her indoor clothing for when she's just at home, like her sleepwear and stuff, I'll be representing that with how she's dressed. The function of the hijab is to basically have you looking your most modest when you're in public or when you're around men. When you're around women, you don't have to wear a hijab because a woman can't marry a woman according to Islamic tradition, so there's no reason for her to have to cover herself in front of a woman. In front of men, she does have to cover herself if they're not her man. Like if it's not a man that she can marry, then she doesn't have to worry about it. But if it's a man that she could potentially marry or have some kind of sexual attraction to, then it's encouraged for her to cover herself with the hijab. So if you go to like a Muslim person's house, then if you're a stranger or if you're like visiting them and you're not part of their household, most likely the women will be covered up. And I think that you don't have to start covering yourself until you hit puberty. But a lot of Muslim families still choose to have their little girls cover themselves anyway, because a lot of times the little girls want to cover themselves when their moms are hijabis and they cover themselves. Everybody wants to be like their mommy when they grow up, right? So a lot of the young girls are very influenced by their own mothers and the older women in their lives who are covered, and so they want to be like them. So a lot of times they'll start wearing the hijab very early on because it's just part of their culture. It's just like, it's a no-brainer for them, and they feel more comfortable when they're covered. Doesn't that sound crazy to say they feel more comfortable covered up? But I think it's because in our American culture and Western cultures, women are very overly sexualized, especially from a young age. There really is no cap on how young you have to be to start being sexualized in our culture. It's ridiculous. And we're so used to it that we're almost desensitized to it. We don't even notice it unless people like point it out to us. This outfit is so pretty. Like, this is from the Inchan Arrivals pack. Everything in that pack is so like amazing looking, but I don't even understand why that's so, because it's all such plain swatches. Like, there's nothing really fancy looking there, but it just looks so comfy and so stylish at the same time. It's crazy. Oh, I really like this too. This might be a good look for her. I like the browns. Let's keep her in this for her formal wear, and then we're gonna have to get creative again with the with the athletic stuff, but we can do it. So we just tend to be very like sexualized in our culture, and for some reason we even go so far as to tell younger women that being very loose with their sexuality and just letting everything hang out is somehow empowering. I don't know where we're getting this from. I don't know why we think that everything being exposed is empowering to women, but whatever. That's the culture here, right? In these other cultures, especially in the Muslim culture, it's completely the opposite. They don't look at you as a woman being somehow liberated because all your cleavage is hanging out, everybody can see your body parts. You know, they look at you like your body parts are sacred. It's special. It's supposed to be saved for the man who you end up marrying, and that person, it's their right to enjoy the way that you look and your beauty and all of this. It's not for everybody. The women choose to cover themselves because they pride themselves on their beauty, and they think that it's a special thing for me to save for my husband one day. You know what I'm saying? So they don't show it off to everyone as soon as they have the opportunity to dress themselves. That's just their ideology, and I can't see how anybody would look at that and say that you're being oppressed. To me, I feel like it's the other way around. I feel like we American women are more oppressed when it comes to our style and clothing and things like that, because if you don't dress a certain way, if you're not stylish enough, if you're not exposing everything, a lot of times you'll be shamed by other women and society in general as like lame or a prude or a goody or not fashionable, because you're not dressing in such a way where everybody can see your body parts. And Do you know how many American girls are like suffering from body image issues, have very low self-esteem? These girls are on TikTok showing off all their body parts to a bunch of strangers and putting themselves in really dangerous situations, all for a like, all for their self-esteem to be more at ease, I guess, feeling like they fit in. Yeah, it's just sad that in our culture, like, we think that that makes us empowered, and then you wonder why there's so many women out here who cannot figure out how to engage with the opposite sex. They don't know how to feel fulfilled in themselves. On the one hand, we'll say we don't want to be treated like a piece of meat, but then at the same time, if people don't compliment your looks and tell you how pretty you are, give you all this attention based on your looks, you start getting like offended and feeling like they don't like you enough. It's just so bizarre to me. The mental health of of American girls are so backwards right now, because I think because of the way our society is and how little value we put on each other based on our personalities and our minds and what we can bring to the table other than our body parts. You know, I see it all over the place. It's like, are my eyes deceiving me? I have to believe what my own two eyes are showing me, right? So that's just my opinion on it, and I think it's craziness, but not much I can do about that. I'm just noticing it, you know? So like, when I see people talking junk about the hijabi girls, I just be like, y'all don't even know how free these women really are. They're not being stressed out by the pressures of trying to physically fit the criteria of what women are supposed to be looking like in society, which changes all the time. Can't even keep up. 1 minute you're supposed to be skinny, next minute you gotta be thick, next minute it's long hair, next minute it's side shaved, next minute it's all this makeup, next minute it's the natural look. It's always ever changing. Beauty standards don't stay the same. How can I keep up? Right? It's so stressful. I think that it's really cool that in these cultures, you know, the women are being judged by their actual personalities, the things that they're good at, such as Khadijah here, who was a young woman being celebrated not for how big her booty is and how good she is at twerking and how many boys like her. Khadijah is being appreciated for her athleticism. If you hear her speak, she's so well spoken. She's really smart, very intelligent kid. It's really not her looks that's making you appreciate who she is as a person. How can you look at that and say that she's being oppressed just because she's got a scarf on her head? Like, it's just so asinine to me. And most people who think and talk like that have never even met a Muslim person or a Muslim person who has done anything wrong to them. They've never heard a Muslim woman complain that she was being oppressed or that she doesn't like to wear her hijab. Because here's the thing, the hijab is your choice. If you don't want to wear it, you don't have to wear it. Nobody is forcing you to do it. You can take it right off, you know? Will you get judged? Maybe, depending on the culture that you're living in, because I think people sometimes mix up cultures and religions. Jewish people have a religion, but they also are Jewish in lineage too, but the two don't always overlap. You will run into a person who identifies as a Jew culturally and ethnically, but not necessarily religiously. They might not even follow the religion, but they're still Jewish. And then you'll run into people who are not Jewish in lineage, but they identify as Jewish because of the religion that they chose, and they accept that religion, so therefore they are Jewish, right? There's like people who are black that are Jews. I know a girl whose whole family is like, they follow like the Hebrew Jewish religion and lifestyle, but they're black people, and that's just all she's known her entire life, you know? So diversity is where it's at, but I think, you know, we trap ourselves sometimes in defining diversity within a box as well, when diversity itself is like, it can mean literally anything. I think that dolls and games like this, The Sims, it helps people to kind of like relate to people who aren't like them, because you're able to play with life literally by exploring different ideologies, storylines, and customs that you don't normally get exposed to in your day-to-day life, just because, you know, circumstances, not even necessarily because you don't want to be. It's just maybe where you live there are no Muslim people, there are no black people, there are no Asian people, there are no Jewish people. Maybe you just don't see that in your environment, so you might be curious about it, but you just don't know how to expose yourself to the information so that you can really like familiarize yourself. Let's see which hijab patterns we want to use for this. Well, her jacket already has a pattern, so we're not going to go with something printed like that. We're just going to go with a plain color. I'm trying to find a swatch that will match what she's wearing though. I know I downloaded some CC hijab that was supposed to be some recolors, but I don't see it. What is going on? Am I going blind here? I don't see it. I don't know. It'll stick out to me, but I literally downloaded just for her character, so like that would just defeat the purpose if I don't find it. Oh boy. How about this one? Some plain looking swatches here. This is pretty plain looking. Is it too light? Oh, here goes the one that I downloaded. It's right in front of my face. She was looking so stylish in the thumbnail, I didn't even recognize it. Jeez. These are just all plain colors. Perfect color. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And she does look a little bit sad, but that's because I turned down the corners of her lips, which I tend to do with almost all of my Sims that I make based on my Barbies. Before I forget, I just want to jump over to this swimsuit section and just try this one out. Just want to make sure it's covering up that gap where her chest was showing, and it's perfect. And this material I think is the perfect material for swimwear. We're good to go right here. Oh, this is turning out lovely, y'all. It's a shame I have to cover up her hair, obviously, because she's wearing hijab. Oh, this is pretty for formal wear. Oh my gosh, how pretty is this hijab with the jewels on it? Ooh, and it's got like the nice, look at this veil in the back. That's so pretty. Let's see if we can find a nice color to go with what she's got on. The white one wasn't bad. Very pretty. Let's stick with this one. Okay, for athletic wear, what shall we go with, ma'am? Now, if you go to different regions of the world, the hijab is not going to look the same everywhere you go. Like, for example, in Africa, a lot of the Muslim women tend to do their wraps like this, and then they'll cover up their neck with something else. The standard is to cover all of your hair, of course, your ears, and your neck. So this very traditional style of hijab is what we see a lot in the Western world. I think it has the most coverage, and that's why you're gonna see that the most. But if you go to Africa, the weather there is very different. It's very hot. So I don't know if that's part of the reason why the African Muslim women tend to do their hijabs more like a head wrap, and then the rest of the look will be like with like a shawl or like some kind of scarf around their chest. That's more easier for them to move around in, probably. But this is not wrong either if her neck was covered up. Like, for example, let's look for the bandanas that came with the Horse Ranch expansion. Okay, see, like this, she can totally get away with this look. Something like this would work for more like an African style hijab. So it is flexible. You can try out different things. How about if we go, ooh, okay, I see what you're trying to do, okay. How about a plain one? See? Okay, yeah, something like this totally could make that work, and she still would be considered covered up. And then there's also the debate of whether or not you're allowed to wear makeup or jewelry when you're covered. And I hear mixed things when it comes to that. I really think that for most people, it's just their personal choice. Islamically speaking, that's another thing too. The hijab is not just for women. Yeah, the scarf is for women, but covering yourself is for both genders. Men are not supposed to be walking around showing off everything, walking around with no shirt on. That's not proper attire for Muslims, for Muslim men either, which I think never gets any shine in media. Like, nobody talks about that. Nobody brings to attention, oh, this is beautiful together. Oh my goodness. Let's keep this together. That's a good look for her party wear. We don't really hear people talking too much about how the men are supposed to be dressed. I don't know why. I just feel like people love to turn things into a controversy where there is none. And it's not as controversial to say that men have to cover themselves. You know, they want to drive this narrative that these women are all oppressed and they don't have choices and nobody respects them and they're being abused, which is completely false. Guys, you don't have to believe me. Check the comment section. I know there are some Muslims who watch my content and will come across this, and they can fill you in on their experiences. For the most part, what I hear is they experience much more respect from people, especially the opposite gender. You would think being all covered up would make men not even look at you twice. In reality, it's the other way around. You know, the men respect these women a lot more because they're forced to not be distracted by their beauty. Because that's the thing about women. It's not that we're trying to get the attention of men. It's that we just naturally are going to get their attention because they're attracted to women. They're supposed to like us. Hello. If you're going out of your way to enhance your looks, you're putting on makeup, you're, going just out of your way to be seen, of course they're going to notice you. Of course they're going to be like, oh, she's fly, she's pretty. It's a distraction to a lot of the men. So it's almost like you're going out of your way to distract the person. It would be like walking around in the forest with like meat, raw meat all over you. And then you get surprised when like a bear jumps out and tries to eat you. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Why did you go into the woods with meat all over you. Common sense would tell you not to do that. That's just a stupid thing to do unless you are in the mood to get attacked by a beast. It's your prerogative. That's just what you're into. Have at it, sis. Most of us don't want to be in that situation. You feel me? So can I judge you for not choosing to go inside the woods with meat covering you from head to toe? I mean, that would be insanity for me to be like, girl, you free, you liberated, you should be able to just walk around with meat all over you, and these bears better respect you. They better know not to come trying to attack you. What in the world? Stop it. Just stop. It's just you doing too much. You just doing too much. You feel me? It's like telling a man who's walking around with wads of money just hanging out of all his pockets, and he's announcing to everyone how much money he makes, and then being surprised when he gets bombarded by gold diggers. What did you think was gonna happen, sir? Your expectations are ridiculously high. You understand? We're only human beings here. Come on. I'm speaking from the perspective of a woman. I'm a girl. I don't even like girls. But when I see pretty girls, I mean, look at my doll collection. I'm really just collecting a bunch of pretty faces at the end of the day. When you see a pretty girl, you just want to look at her. She's like a work of art, right? God is the best of artists. What can you say? So I can't really be blaming them for wanting to not be the center of attention in that manner, and they covering themselves up. You got the discipline to do that. Have at it, girl. More power to you. I hope this is a lesson to people who maybe previously were judging the women who they see around their environment or in their communities who are covered up like this, that it's not because she's being forced. It's not because she's not liberated. A lot of these women are very highly educated doctors, lawyers, teachers, amazing professions like you would not believe. A lot of these women are multilingual. A lot of these women have families that respect them, miss them when they're not around. Like, they're being treated very well by their husbands. They're living a fulfilled life. They just don't look like the standard modern day woman because they're choosing to cover themselves as the women back in the day where these traditions come from. You know, thousands and thousands and thousands of years of tradition we're talking about, y'all. Those women from back in the day, this is how they chose to dress, because it was for their own safety and comfort for them to cover their bodies. The last thing I want to do, I think I want to add a skin overlay. I don't know what these are called. I'm calling it an overlay, but I mean, I could be wrong. But a skin mask or whatever. I want to add this to her face. I think it smooths out the lines a little bit better and just makes her look a little more youthful. I do have her age set to young adult. I was thinking like, should she be a teenager or a young adult? But I think it makes more sense to make her a young adult because of the kind of work she's going to be doing, and I want her to be able to live on her own. Initially, when we start, she is going to be living by herself. And here's some of her traits. So she's a championship rider for her aspiration, so we'll be playing through that for her. She's got the rancher trait, the animal enthusiast traits. She's smart and she's kind. Now, my game, I have 5 traits available in CAS. I always try to give my Sims and my characters one negative trait. None of these look like a negative trait on the surface, but actually shy trait is sort of a negative trait, because it's gonna make it harder for her to build relationships with people that she doesn't know, like total strangers. But I think that that's fitting for her personality because of the story that I have in my mind for this character has always been that she's really, really kind and sweet to the people that she knows, but she's a little bit slow to warm up to strangers because she gets judged so much just because of the way that she dresses and people having negative ideas about Muslims and things they don't really understand. So because she's had that experience, it would make sense for her to be a little bit shy about warming up to people. I'm a little bit disappointed that I can't pair these hijab looks with earrings because they just don't show up. I wish I could, because if I could, then she would totally rock earrings, because my doll, who this character of course is based on as far as her looks, I do put earrings on her. You can usually see them poking out through her hijabs. In real life, some of the hijabi girls, because you have to cover your ears, what they do is they'll put the earrings inside the actual fabric. It's not hooked to their ears, it's like dangling, like hooked onto the fabric, so it just gives the illusion that they're wearing earrings, but really they're not. That's pretty clever. But it's okay that she's not wearing earrings, so we're just gonna say she's just playing it safe and decided to not go with the earrings, and maybe she just enjoys earrings at home when she's walking around inside her house for her own pleasure, because she likes the jewelry. And then I do think I want to add one more outfit to her pajamas, because the pajamas are gonna end up being what she's wearing in the house or when she's around her girlfriends. So she's not gonna be wearing a hijab in those circumstances. Where's that sweater that I said I wanted to use? I think she would wear something like that. Very relaxed. It's like a knitted sweater. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, I like this one with the brown tones. That looks very appropriate for the ranch life. Let's do a brownish tone. So should I keep these pants because she's got like this tie here that's being covered up? I don't know, I just want to appreciate the features of the clothes, but that's okay. We're not gonna make a big fuss over it. This one with the shorter sleeve inside the house. Looks like Nyla's gonna be rocking most of her jewelry at home. Alright, so here's how she's turned out. I think she's done, you guys. What do you think? What adjustments do you think I should have made to her? Does she look anything like my doll? Can you recognize that it is my doll that I based her looks on? And I think also I'm gonna go in and just turn up the corners of her mouth a little bit, even though I really love the serious look. But Nyla's character is a very kind and sweet person, so I feel like she would just have a resting smiley face, just a subtle one. It's not too much, but I think this is okay. And yeah, my doll does have big blue eyes like this. So that was done on purpose. She's supposed to have blue eyes. I'm really excited about how she turned out, and I'm so excited to get her in the game. I want to place her in, I think I'm going to place her in Chestnut Ridge and try to find her a spot that's like a 1-bedroom. Yeah, but for now I'm going to just save her like this. So I almost forgot. We gotta add one more thing to her household, y'all. She is a horse girl after all. What's wrong with me? Like, I did all that to not even add her horse. So we definitely need to add her a horse. Yes, my CAS background becomes very scary looking when I do these horses because they take up so much space. The background I'm using is CC, so it's not modded for this expansion, so the room kind of just turns into like a weird space here. Don't worry about that. Alright, we gotta give her a horse, and honestly, I'm not trying to do all this extra stuff with these animals because I don't know nothing about no horses. I don't know nothing about how they're supposed to be looking. I really don't. So let's just keep it basic for these guys. Gee, can you shut up? When I looked at Khadijah's horse that she was riding, it was a very dark horse. I'm not sure, but I think it was a boy. So we're gonna make this one a stallion. We're gonna make you not a foal because I want her to be able to ride it. So it's just gonna be an adult horse. Let's just do a couple of details here. She would be very sweet to her horse and wanting to make sure that it's really comfortable. So I feel like she would have these like knitted things on it. The saddle, riding clothes, everyday clothes. Oh, I'm stupid. That's why. Okay.
Such a fool.
So the saddle has to be there, but you can put some other things underneath the saddle. So let's see what we got, buddy. I feel like it would be very well harnessed. Like she would make sure that it's secure. I love these Native American swatches they've got going on. I wish this horse would shut up. Why are you making so much noise? I don't like your attitude. Sir, please, can you keep it down? Thank you. What's this thing on the face? Is that something that can be changed? That's the right color. Okay, for riding, yeah, I feel like she would be making sure that her horse was very comfortable in its riding gear and that she's comfortable and just everything you need would be on it. I just feel like she would pamper her horse. Like she would just want her horse to be really comfortable and happy. That looks ridiculous. I can't even take you serious, bruh. This one has short hair. That's pretty. Ooh, I love the braid. I don't like this one. I like the waves. That's pretty too. Oh, it's so wavy. That one is okay. This one is just bare. I could see Nyla taking the time to braid the hair of her horsey. I just feel like she would really pamper her horse and take good care of it and be very close to it. So we're gonna go with that for the mane. And then for this part in the front, which is labeled forelock, I didn't know there was a whole word for it, but okay. This looks too bald. That looks like the beginning of a braid, which I think would be believable considering that the hair is braided. I think I'm gonna keep the braid even though it's got red because there's red on this ponytail here too. So it matches. We're gonna just make it work. I like the hair. Is it okay if he's kind of hairy? Be hairy. Be a hairy beast. Run wild and free. These are the body types that you can choose. Boy, I don't know what the difference is. I want him to look strong. Let's see if we can find the right body type. And I think you can change the weight and muscularity of your horses. I want her horse to look strong. Alright. That like you wouldn't expect a dainty sweet young lady to have been able to tame. Does that sound crazy? Okay, I don't know nothing about breeds, so we're just gonna leave that part alone. We already did the outfits, right? And then this is the everyday outfits. Let me see if this thing looks okay. Oh no, I don't want to cover up the hairs. Nice and free. Why do I feel like this print is so distracting? Let's look for a complementary color instead, such as this. Yeah, that's a lot better. Alright, I'm learning a little bit about horses. Now we have to pick the traits. For this one, there's so many here, I don't know what the difference of any of them are. Okay, mellow. Horses prefer relaxing over everything else. Because of their laid-back nature, they're quick to gain the temperament skill and slow to gain athletic. Bye. No, 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 no. Brave tend to be stout of heart, unfazed by bad weather or danger. They also have a higher chance of succeeding when using horse jumps and barrels. Well, we need that. We need him to be brave. Okay, what else? These horses thrive in open outdoors and will become sad if left inside for too long. I could see her horse being that way. The horses are all around rapid learners, giving them an increased gain of all skills. As an added bonus, they're brilliant conversationalists. Really. Independent horses are content on their own and don't need as much attention. I think her horse would want attention because, well, I feel like she would just smother her horse with lots and lots of affection because it's her bestest friend in the whole wide world. Friendly. These horses love all things social. They're more likely to have positive social interactions. Yeah, and I also want to give it the free spirit trait because... Calm down. Because I think she would have her horse out in the open in whatever property we end up choosing for her. What will we name this horse? Philly. Because Philly is supposed to be Nyla's nickname because her father is from Philadelphia. Let's give it, we need to give it one more name because don't horses always have like two names? It's like a a verb and a noun or something. I don't know. All right, we're gonna do megaphone because so loud. Bruh. Okay. Alright, so the horse is done. Definitely looks like a very strong horse, and that's what we're going for. Nyla is all done. Thank you so much for watching thus far, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you leave me a like, and if you're not subscribed already, I don't know what you're waiting for. Join the club so we can have some Dolly and Simmy fun over here. Soon, my aim is to get to 15,000 subscribers, and you can do that by just subscribing. It's free. I'll see you guys in the next one. My name is Gypsy. You're watching Broken Dolly TV. Have a Dolly day.